Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF44 coming to another video. All right, so my throat hurts, man. Man, I still want to talk Lakers, and it's one of those things where when you sleep the wrong way, which I definitely did, because I've been working on my chest so much, and you sleep on your back when you're not used to. Oh man, you snore, and then you have the sore throat. So it doesn't happen to me very often. I rarely get sick, so I hate this feeling. So that is my disclaimer for why I sound so funny. Now, the Lakers. Well, this team barely beat the Rockets. Barely beat the Rockets. Barely walked out of there with a win. Alperen Sengun sang off, completely killed us. But Brown at 48, 9-8, and we won. But we know they didn't want to win. We can't be happy with this. We could be happy with the fact that we were able to play a good game, but to allow 130 plus points to a Houston Rockets team that's only won 10 games. Come on, man. We got to do better. Just like Bron said, just like Westbrook and Handy was talking about at the end of the game, we have to do better. It's the same thing I was telling us at the end of the game last game. We have to do better. This is not an independent thought when I say it, because you can hear it from the king. We're not doing what we're supposed to do. I don't care if we beat the Rockets. I don't care if we beat a bunch of Eastern Conference teams in a row who didn't even want to be on the road. None of that matters. I'll tell you why. Because we are still in 13th place. So even if the West is still really log jam and it's a bunch of teams and everybody can really, really do it, you got to understand who's more likely to not. Us. The way we close out games, the way we play defense, nah. I don't think this team is one trade away. I don't. I've been saying that for a bit now, and hey, look, truth be told, we could be a trade away. Sometimes all it takes is one piece coming in. Sometimes it takes one piece going out. I don't know. But what I can say is, beyond the shadow of a doubt, our team can compete. We only had 2 turnovers in this game. It was a franchise record. The Rockets had 0 steals in the game. We took care of the basketball in an extraordinary way in the midst of all of that. I think a lot of what went right for us was the Rockets not trying to compete, not playing Sengun properly, so that they could get the most out of him in a game where he's playing unbelievable. And so it's tough because as a Laker fan, you want to celebrate wins. But you know, if you were going up against a team that wanted to win, good chance you wouldn't have. It's the same thing I said about 5-6 wins we've had against these tanking squads. We can only beat them if they want to lose. And so in a game where LeBron James goes for 48 points, Russie goes for 24, Winion has a really good game. It's a lot to be, impressed with in terms of the players playing well. But when you walk away having only beaten the Rockets by 7 points and the game was close, and the Rockets, like I said, 10 wins. We've played about 40 games, so there's nothing to say. I think the Los Angeles Lakers are just happy to have won a game. I think the peanut gallery, people make fun of them, they are. I think they got a lot to talk about in regards to the game before this one, the game before that, the game before that. This team has embarrassed itself really bad and needed a victory. My argument was that this victory was going to be able to mask some of those losses and some of the things that had to do with those losses. But from what I'm seeing, It's not having that effect. And beating the Rockets at home in a game where both teams scored close to 300 points. Didn't do that. Didn't do it. So, we'll see what the morning's talk will be. Obviously, yesterday was MLK Day, and it wasn't a whole lot of commentary. But today, I do expect it. I expect the Los Angeles Lakers are going to have plenty of people talking about them, talking about how they didn't do well enough. And you know what? I think it's a shame because LeBron James was well enough. He did what he was supposed to do. He closed the game out perfect. He did what he was supposed to do. He was efficient as it gets. And he was efficient as it gets in the previous one, too. I think he's probably missed a total of maybe 7 shots in the last 2 games. And he's attempted probably 50-something. So, the stretch that the King is on right now is an MVP level stretch. And the team he's on can't win unless he plays that way. So how do we win if he doesn't? Redundantly speaking, I don't know that we do. Not against a team that wants to drop 132 points. I don't think you do. No, whether they take it or not. You can't keep up with them scoring the ball. So that is the reality. Thomas Bryant was a struggling man. And y'all know I'm high on TB, but just like everybody else on this team, we have real highs and real lows. And last night was a real low for Thomas. It wasn't just that he only had 6.6 boards. It was Sengun who was really exploiting all of Thomas's weaknesses on both sides of the floor, y'all. I mean, the pack that he had, the defensive read that he had on Thomas Bryant, I think it was in the 4th quarter, where Thomas had his back to the basket. Alperen rose up with his left hand, and Thomas Bryant spin right, I believe it was, and Sengun packed it with his right hand. Just a perfect defensive play. And I assure you, that should not have happened. Thomas is an offensive player. I don't mind him getting cooked on the other side. But when it's time to score the ball, you can't get just crumbled like he got crumbled tonight by that second-year player who I kept calling a rookie. He's not a rookie. Sengun is a second-year player. Had a whole season last year. I'm very disappointed in myself for ending the video that way after correcting myself in the video. But it is what it is, man. The mind does what it does. But what I can tell you is we need to get our collective mind right, both myself and all of that Laker team over there, because we don't have a whole lot to be proud of this week with the type of decisions that our coaches made that's led to losses, type of officiating that has come our way that's coerced us into those bad circumstances that lead to losses. You know, guys playing well, but it not coming out to nothing. The frustration is starting to bubble up. And I just feel like as much as, you know, we have some good synergy with certain players on the team, I just feel like the chemistry going forward, if we really want to reach our highest peak, we have got to get to a space where people are rooting for one another. And I know people are trying to root for one another, but if it's not organic, it doesn't matter. It's like we say we got to read energy properly. We also got to be able to disperse it properly. We can't push out energy that isn't directly manifested from a space of, you know, like natural, organic, you know, desire, so to speak. You got to have it. You got to want it. You can't pretend to want it and then expect to get the results that come from not. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what I think our team is doing. That's what I think a lot of levels of life is doing. But this is what we're doing here. Pretending we're something we're not, and going out there with confidence that we're going to execute and being a good closing team when we're really not. You know what I mean? That's what it comes down to. They're terrible at it. And at this point, I need my coaching staff to study old film. That's what I want them to do, man. I want them as a unit, not to just study our team, but to dig in the past and study teams that are really good at closing close games. That is your job now. It should have been your job 3 weeks ago when we realized we were this bad at this. then we need to start working some of those concepts, those last 2-minute drills, work some new plays, work whatever into the equation over the next 2 weeks. And Bron, I have to say this, man. I have to say this to LeBron James directly, because I know, even though I'm no, I know, because the overall environment tells the truth. You got to be willing to practice, sir. I know you don't need it, but the team needs you to be there, to be that piece consistently in practice so they can run stuff. Nobody's simulating you. Nobody's simulating AD, and they can't get AD out there. They can't get him out there, obviously. So that means LeBron James needs to be in practice, being himself. This whole I don't want to schedule practice thing, it's a big part of why we're not that good, man. Guys missing practices, skipping practices, only practicing once a week. This team is bad. Do you know what that means? It means it needs more practice than it's getting. That's it. That's it. You can know of concepts of how to close games, but if you don't know how to execute those concepts with perfection, you're going to lose those games. It ain't enough to know of concepts. You got to be in the practice of executing them. And that is a difference. When I sit here and say LeBron James don't know how to close basketball games, LeBron James understands the concept of closing basketball games way better than I would ever be able to explain to you. But he doesn't have the rhythm of closing basketball games with this team. You see what I'm saying? He knows how to close basketball games for his Miami team, for his Cleveland teams, and for some of them old Laker teams. But for this squad, you need to be able to do things a certain way, and we need to learn what they are, discover what they are, and then get better at doing those things. And I just think it's still early on in our season. It's early on in Coach Ham's career. And I just think a lot of things need to be established from a organizational standpoint. Organizational ain't the word. From a coaching standpoint, from his schematic scheme, how you set things up, how you put players in position, he's going to have to evolve in that way so that it can give him a better result. I think that's where it starts. And I was thinking about different concepts that I had, man, of what I would want to run in practice. Some of the stuff that I want guys to work on are things they're not that good at. You know, sometimes some of the things I want us to work on are new concepts that maybe we're not considering. You know, lots of clock drills, man. Lots of 5 minute, 4 minute, 3 minutes, 3.5 minute, any type of drill that forces us to simulate bad calls, free throw circumstances, last second circumstances, pace study. Those are the things I want to see the Lakers really, really dig in on. Pace study. Try running 2-minute drills at different paces and see what type of results it gives you. These are things we need to study, man. Pretend you're up by 10 and then erase 10 of those points in a matter of a minute, and then show me what you can do with 3 minutes in defense. Like, these are the type of things, like, you got to create scenarios that you're going to be facing, because this is what happens to us. We bring in our bench and we end up erasing any leads, and then we got to fight our way back, and we don't usually put the right rotations to do so. Simulate foul trouble situations. Pretend Wenyen Gabriel's working with 5 fouls with the third quarter, and simulate ways of schematically putting players on the floor to get us some rim protection. And for God's sakes, Rob Pelinka, he can't manifest rim protection out of nowhere, bro. This is when I stopped talking to anybody on the team and I start talking to Rob Pelinka. Something can be done, and that something is calling up Jay. Jay Huff would have helped a lot with Sengun last night, because he's an interior protector, a rim protector, a defensive player in the paint. Very effective in that way, and that is what his strength is. Sengun, all that back to the basket stuff he was doing, hooks and all that. Jay Huff got 6 fouls to give and a lot of length, and he's not Thomas Bryant at all. He ain't TB, he's going to get the stop. So I'm just frustrated because I really like Thomas Bryant, but his defense is not good, man. It's not good. And because it's not good, it's hard to keep him on the floor. Ain't nobody asking him to be Anthony Davis or Joel, and not asking him to be Robert Williams. but he does need to find a way to be more of a standstill, straight up and down defensive force on the floor. He's 7 feet tall, so it's not that he can't physically get in the way. It's just that his brain ain't telling him to do the right things. And that's it. Whatever it is that he needs to learn on the defensive end, it just ain't there. And I don't know if there's nothing we can do to make it better. Looking at how he moves, he's not somebody who's a real fluid mover. So guys who are real wiggly and stuff who are his size are going to always eat him up. But he's going to have to get better at concepts, man. He's going to have to just learn how to get in the way and stay in the way defensively. Because a lot of times it's a layup line with him down there. And he's unplayable. When you're going up against really good centers, he's unplayable, yo. Which is the complete opposite of what you need. Because if you're going up against really good centers, you need his scoring to offset that. And we talk about having Anthony Davis coming back, playing with Thomas Bryant. For what? When you really consider it, Thomas Bryant is doing it, giving him no help on the defensive end. And then taking shots from him on the offensive end. For all the shots that TB can hit, that AD's supposed to be hit. So it becomes a situation where you look at the style of play and you say, as much as I like TB, if I'm really looking at this the right way, I don't need to double down on more offensive possession in the paint. You know what I mean? I don't need to do when everybody's fully healthy. Thomas Bryant's piece only doubles down on offense. I don't need that. I need defense in that situation. I need him to be an assistant with defending in the paint with Anthony Davis. So Anthony doesn't have to bang around with centers and stuff and ultimately find himself trying to rebound more than he needs to. We need somebody who can complement him with that and be able to do some things offensively to not be in his way. Thomas takes care of the latter, but not the former. And that is a big, huge hole in our roster. Because if you don't bring up Jay Huff, and you don't trust Damian, and then you got the situation where you're going to Winyon, who's undersized at the 4, Braun undersized at the 4, and Thomas can't do nothing defensively for you. So it's like you don't have no interior defense at all. And that's why you gave up 132 points to a Houston team. Because you could not do anything with them in the paint. They scored whenever they wanted. They got like 70 plus points in the paint. You didn't do what you needed to do to assure that he didn't do that. And I'm not a fan that's happy about it, man. I want to see, at the end of the day, Lakers with the ability to defend anybody. You know, like we're an offensive basketball club right now. I can't really shoot that well. What the heck kind of identity is that? I'm tired. I'm happy we won, but I'm not fooled by the fact that there was no other way it was going to go. Houston was going to make sure they lost. They were going to make sure they lost, man. They didn't want to win. So how do you celebrate a win when you know the other team's objective is to lose? It's hard to. It's really hard to. But yeah, that's pretty much my thought, man. My throat is still killing me, man. I'm pretty sure it's going to be even more nasally than usual to listen to. I might not even upload this day. It's so bad talking this way, but I just want to vent a little bit, get you guys some content in regards to this Laker team. Go drink something warm or drink some, gargle or something, try to fix this throat so that my content doesn't suck all day. Thank God the Lakers don't play. My voice don't improve. I can at least give an excuse to not be up here today. Fix this, but yeah, man, I want to touch that with you guys, man. Talk about my Lakers. I was listening to Dan. He was really unhappy about this game, and he just brought it home. Dan, the Lakers fan. He just brought it home in regards to this was not an acceptable performance by the Lakers. It wasn't. You could be pleased with LeBron James' individual performance, winning, Patrick returning hitting threes. All of that's really welcome. But we didn't do nothing to make us feel good about ourselves. Not really. We just stopped the bleeding for a time and gave ourselves an opportunity to start a new streak. So hopefully we do that against the Kings on Wednesday. But we know the Kings are a better team than us. We know that. And if we're not getting better at the things we're no good at, then we got more close losses coming. Embarrassing, heartbreaking losses. My name is BDF44. I thank you all for watching.